Hey guys, Thomas the Silly Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review Slender Man. Now, before I can officially begin this review, I will say that Slender Man is based off of both primarily a creepypasta and more notably a video game, so I will technically consider this a video game movie. So, this movie is not good. And if anything, if there was ever a movie that could have been really easy to make, you would think it would be Slender Man. I mean, it's a really simple video game, all things considered. But no, it falls apart. Now, I will give this movie some leeway in saying that I do understand why they would postpone this movie this long, considering the actual events that happened in real life of actual people trying to summon Slender Man, so that is a bit unfortunate on that circumstance. But nonetheless, that does not, at the end of the day, I don't think that gives Slender Man an excuse to be a bad movie. So anyways, we begin our movie following our four female leads, led by one Haley. There is her sister Lindsay, and there are three others, Katie, Ren, and Chloe, or as I called her in my notes, Red, because that's what I kept hearing, not Ren. Anyways, nonetheless, the four of them anyways start to hang out with each other pretty shortly. They start to watch some porn, talk about boys and guys and stuff like that. And then they get bored. So they decide that they want to try to summon Slender Man, and they already know of that name. And apparently he is just one internet click away in one simple to find video. And yes, I did watch some other reviews mentioning that how wouldn't he have spread even further if it was really that easy? And yeah, it's a pretty legit question, all things considered. So they do play the video, they see some images that go by really quick, and they hear some bells. So they see some images, one of them at least, I think it was Haley, the main character, sees some images of them being in the forest, and then a bizarre transition of a week passing by happens. And they're already ready to go on a trip. And this is where the movie already starts to fall apart. As I mentioned, one of the characters was Katie. She ends up getting distracted, falling behind the rest of the group, looking into the forest, and the movie just cuts ahead to the other three, while just having her stay behind. And the next thing we know, she's already considered missing, and it's really just dumb that all you had to do, really, to make that point even more clear, was to actually start to have her walk into the forest instead of her just standing there, where a student could have just simply turned around and noticed, hey, she's kind of in her own little dimension, and just, calling her out and saying, hey, you're just looking into the forest, and just saying, hey, I found her. No one did that. How stupid is that? Anyways, they ended up checking the forest, and Haley investigates inside this house, inside her own house, or some other house, I don't know, I don't remember which one it was. And then she bumps into her sister, I believe. And they get an invite from from Katie's father, I should say, and then he ends up getting arrested. So He's kind of like blaming them for her disappearance. And then, Red says that she felt something, and then that it felt wrong, but Haley's not necessarily buying all this nonsense immediately. So they check her house, that's Katie's house, and they see that pictures were put up of Slender Man. So I assume between the 3 weeks she started drawing pictures of Slender Man, but the way that they write this, it makes it seem like she was thinking about it even before the movie even started. I'm not sure which one they were trying to go for there. But they check the laptop and they see there are other videos of her seeing videos of Slender Man. So they get this message from this other online user. I don't remember the name of the user. But Ren starts to talk about with this other online person about what to do. And they end up going into the forest, the three of them. So they head into the forest, and they put these blindfolds on, and while they do this, Ren is explaining what not to do, which includes not taking the blindfolds off, and to wait until a certain period of time. However, Chloe decides that she wants to sneak a peek. And she ends up screaming, and I don't even remember if she saw Slender Man or not. She just ends up screaming and then running away. And then while they're chasing her, when they get back up, Ren and Haley end up getting separated temporarily. But they try to attempt a jump scare by having Chloe suddenly burst out, returning out of nowhere. When they reunite, that is. So, anyways, they cut to Hallie just sitting alone and whatever, and just waiting. And then we cut to Chloe, who gets an unknown call, and she looks at her phone and looks outside from her phone, seeing that there's something moving in her house. She decides that the best course of action is to just stand there. So, let's not attempt to do anything horrific. Let's not attempt to try. Let's just have her stand there like a fucking idiot. She doesn't even try to. There's no sense of tension. There's no sense of, oh man, is she gonna get caught? She just fucking stands there. What is her fucking issue? And this isn't the last time this happens. So yes, the lights go off, and she gets grabbed. And it cuts away. And when they go back to school, neither Ren or Haley want to mention anything that is going on. So when Hallie's attempting to talk to Tom, her suddenly just she has a potential boyfriend, I guess, all of a sudden. But yes, she turns to see Slender Man in the forest while that's going on. And Ren decides to do some more searching for more Slender Man sightings in the library. Another cliche, of course. The library scene, looking up more stuff, so they probably could have cut down looking up at stuff at this point, but whatever. So she reads about the faceless aspect and looks into some more books and starts to hear some suspicious noises. She attempts to call Hallie for support, but her phone gets all wanky-janky and the lights go off. So Slender Man appears and she's out for the run. And the library actually does some pretty interesting stuff, expanding and shrinking and doing all this sort of crazy stuff. Her face gets removed temporarily. And she ends up kind of just sitting there afterwards, and then she kind of snaps back out of it. And Haley, they meet back up, and she seems more interested in wanting to date Tom than to look for Chloe, which is something Ren actually wants to keep doing. And again, Hallie just wants nothing to do with it, so she visits Tom instead. And thus we get our meme of the movie where Hallie and Tom start making out, and then Tom gets on top of her and starts to spaz out in a fashion, and I can't pretend like that's stupid because, that it's not stupid because it's really fucking stupid. Totally meme-worthy. I don't know, that might be worth the price of admission, I guess. Get that good meme in there. We'll call this meme "Guy Yells at Girl for Sex?" ? I don't know. Anyways, so Hallie updates Tom on everything that has been going on and tells him not to look at the video, and then leaves. She then joins Ren in the class, and we can clearly see that Tom has now watched the video based off of his emotional state when he comes back into the class. By the way, when, they mentioned Chloe, but we never actually see Chloe for the rest of the movie, I don't think. Whatever happened to her is completely unknown. The last we see of her is the two of them seeing her in her house being all, slighted and possessed, potentially, and then they just leave her there. The two of them, both of them. Even though Ren was the one saying, "Oh, we need to look out for Chloe." But what happens when they get to Chloe's house and they see that she's looking all weird? They decide to both run away. So how about that for stupidity? Anyways, we actually never find out what happens to Chloe. She never dies. The last thing she does is stand there. So, I don't know. This movie, at this rate, I'm gonna say, feels very incomplete. The scenes that they clearly cut out, because I saw some other reviewers show this off in the trailers. Apparently there were things that happened in the trailers that aren't even in this movie, and those very scenes feel like they need to be in this movie in order it to be complete. But again, they're completely cut off for reasons I can't even start to, wrap my mind around. At any rate, so yes, Tom was possessed, blah blah blah. He clearly watched the video. So Hallie tries to message that account again, but it's now deleted. So she's now trying to apologize for Ren for the behavior. And at some point, Katie got caught up in all of this due to Ren. I don't remember what part of the movie this ends up happening. I think the way that they just put it together made it seem like they remembered that the sister was in the movie, and then they were like, oh, we should get her in on this too, so let's just have the main character, Hallie, find the video of Ren, taking her out, to the Slender Man zone. And then Hallie's all suddenly waking up, having a dream within a dream, and I wish I could not be saying that, but that's exactly what happens. And the second dream is of her being pregnant all of a sudden. And out of the pregnancy comes a bunch of Slenderman tendrils. And, you know, I don't know, tentacle hentai joke insert here? Question mark? I mean, there's more of that to come later in just a bit. So yes, the younger sister is now suddenly been Slender Man kidnapped, I guess. And Hallie goes to try to get back to Tom. But things start to go all slow and even come back to a crawl. And the visions she's getting as she's blankly walking through a hallway include a faceless person, a person with long hair, a tall person, things that, you know, bits and pieces that are bits and pieces of Slender Man, and she just sort of walks through, completely unfazed at this point in time. So if the character has no need to worry or be afraid of any other emotion, then why should the audience? So, you know, she's doing the whole faceless stuff. And the younger sister, we kind of cut back to her also having issues. So Hallie looks at the computer, which I mentioned earlier, and then goes to Ren. And she sees the pictures of Slender Man in her place as well. And she sees the hacker's name, which I think was Allison. I think that was her real name. I don't know. Anyway, they manage to reunite. And Hallie saves Ren from falling off the roof. And very shortly after, the two of them both are looking into the phone, and they both see that there is movement in the house. They see exactly what Chloe saw earlier in the movie, and you want to take a good guess as to what the two of them do? They fucking stand there, just going, fucking move. Please do something. What the fuck? This movie is so dumb. So yes, the two of them stand there perfectly still, and then Chloe gets tentacle grabbed by Slender Man into the ether of the outside. So now it is just Hallie by herself. So she heads out into the forest, hearing the bells, hearing all that nonsense, and she says that she is, quote, willing to sacrifice herself to save her sister. Then she proceeds to run away. What? What? So, you're willing to sacrifice yourself for your sister, and then the next second, immediately after you say that, you run away? What is that? Why wouldn't you just stand there if you're willing to sacrifice yourself? That seems the complete reverse of what should have been happening from the phone scenes. They were just standing there in those moments, but now that She wants to sacrifice herself. Now she wants to run. Now she wants to move. But it doesn't matter because she gets covered in the black ichor tentacle rapey stuff anyways and ends up becoming a part of a tree, which allows the sister wake up and to have the sister sort of end the movie with some stupid dialogue nonsense about Slender Man's stuff being passed on, you know. And that was Slender Man, the movie. I can't believe how stupid this is. And I did see some of the other reviews mention how, there shouldn't have been more technology used, and I actually disagree with that notion. I think there should have been more technology used. In fact, I also agree to the extent that this should have been a found footage film. Slender Man is a first-person video game where you're on a camera recording everything. It would have made so much more sense for this to have been a found footage film. And that opportunity was already missed from the very get-go. But when the technology is put into use via their phones, and when their phones are glitching, I actually disagree and said there should have been more of that, but them actually doing something with it, running away, having the phones be a signal that shows that Slender Man is getting closer. Replace that with the camera if they are going to choose to do it in this type of fashion. But they don't do that. They just fucking stand there and they don't do anything. These characters are so dumb. And the Slender Man doesn't really get much to do in anything except for the later half of the movie, and it doesn't feel like anything's even happening when they get taken away, because these characters aren't really characters, they are just there to be taken away. And it does, they could have really gone out of their way, because, there was some real life stuff that happened. They could have tried to, put a nod to that if they wanted to. I don't think there would have been as much of an issue, considering how much time has passed. But no, they don't bring that to the forefront necessarily either. They don't take advantage of anything that Slender Man has to offer, even when he's grabbing people, because it's just so dumb, because they're not trying to do anything with it. The characters aren't doing anything, except for the very last moment where it should have been the complete reverse of what they were doing. Everything is topsy-turvy. The movie has scenes that were taken out that should have been existent in the movie, like what happened to Chloe, what happened to Tom. These questions, very simple to answer, but they don't have answers in the movie. So this movie feels incomplete. It's not scary, and it somehow manages to be worse than some of the other horror movies that have more worse names, like The Bye-Bye Man. And that, to me, is its biggest fault, is that it can't even hold up a candle to some of these other schlocky horror films. And again, it's primarily because it's not a complete movie. It's a movie, I struggle to call it a movie at this point. But that is my review of Slender Man, and I'm going to give this movie a 1 out of 10. And I don't even know why I would give it a 1 out of 10. No, I will give it the 1 out of 10 for the memes. The meme that it had created was worthwhile, and I will give it the 1 point for that. At least it gave us something to laugh at the very most. So there's that. So yes, again, that is my review of Slender Man. And if you enjoyed this review/rant, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out that link in the description or head over to my Patreon page, and any donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.